Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MissFlips. In today's episode, I'm going to be flipping these stools for my own house because we don't have stools for our counter and I've been wanting some for a while. So we got these free from my boyfriend's mother. They have been sitting in her garage for a good little while now, and yeah, we're gonna make them into something, you know, pretty. Let's get flipping. So the first thing we're gonna do is get these boys clean with some oil and vinegar, some vinegar and water, and then once they're dry, I went ahead and sanded them down with a 60 grit sandpaper, and I started at 60 just because I knew that there were two different layers of paint on this guy, and also the dark wood stain or whatever is on the surface of that one on the right. And so I went in with a 60 grit just to tear through that, and then I am going to be going back over it all with a 120 grit, and then finishing it off with a 220 grit just to make sure it's nice and soft. And getting in the little crevices here, the little 90-degree angles that are literally everywhere on this chair, was proving to be pretty challenging. So I actually wanted to take this chair apart anyways, just because it is a little bit on the wobbly side, and I noticed a few cracks on the upper part of the support beams there. So to get the little crevices and to also make the repairs that I needed to make in order to make this piece sturdy, I just went ahead and decided to take it apart. And so I got my set of Allen keys, found the right size, and went ham. And I do really recommend getting a set of Allen keys because with furniture flipping, you never know when you are going to run into these types of screws. Usually they're with, you know, kind of cheaper made furniture, but, you know, you never know. And I was kind of hoping that I could just kind of pop this guy out with my finger, but he was pretty wedged in there. So I went ahead and screwed in a screw to him and then pulled it out with some pliers. And it was a super easy little thing, and all you got to do is unscrew it from the screw and you have your screw ready to use in any other place you need a screw. I'm going to stop saying screw. Before the cracks that were in the support of the seat, I actually went in with some syringes that I got from Emily over at Reconstructing Emily. If you guys haven't checked her out, please make sure to go do that. She is such a talented flipper. But she got me these through my Amazon wish list, and they are amazing. My goodness, I love these things. They're so handy. You can just get them right where you need them, and it gets the glue in the perfect spot. So yeah, highly recommend getting you some of these. And then I just clamped it down and did the other side and let it set.
So I didn't have any tack cloth to wipe off all the dust, so I went in with a wet rag, and technically you're supposed to sand after you put moisture on, otherwise it will leave like a raised grain and make it kind of fuzzy. But since this is for me, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. But if you are doing a custom piece, I highly recommend using tack cloth or a vacuum to get that dust off. Sorry, my lens is pretty dusty, but I'm gonna show you real quick the repair that I made, that little seam right there, if you can look close. It's nice and solid now. I took the clamps off and it dried perfectly and is now all solid and ready to be put back together. These days, it is so important to get out and get your sun, get that vitamin D, so I decided to go out on my porch and work in the sunshine. It's a pretty warm day today, so I went ahead and enjoyed the day and put my stools together and all that out on my back porch. There were birds chirping, the wind was just a light breeze. It was so peaceful. I highly recommend getting out when you can. It's good for the immune system, good for the body, good for the soul, and let's face it, we could all use a little soul healing these days. So for my tape design, I am kind of doing what I usually do and just kind of going with the flow and see what comes to me. But this design ended up looking way more like a Union Jack than I wanted it to or anticipated at this point. But you know, we're figuring it out. We're doing what we can. But in order to avoid this, I should have added these lines here, but alas, I did not. So instead of stopping here, I just kind of tried to add more just to like see if I could make it not look like a Union Jack, but that didn't work. And as I was working with this tape, I realized that the sun was kind of melting the adhesive on the bottom of the tape, so I moved inside for the taping portion and resumed. But yeah, as I was saying, I just kept adding things that just kept making it more and more union-y. So that's cool. But for whatever reason, I decided to stain it anyways. So I went in with some cherry stain, and the reason why I chose cherry is just because we have several things that are in our house that are kind of cherry-esque. So I wanted it to match as closely to those pieces as possible. Our dining room set is kind of cherry, and then we have 2 stools that hold up plants in the corners of our dining room, and so the cherry ties in with those, and then the natural wood actually ties into the open shelves that I built for our kitchen. And if you guys haven't watched that video yet of our whole house transformation, make sure to go check that out. It's on my channel. I have a whole playlist dedicated to our transformation, taking our house from what it was to what it is now. But yeah, so I liked having the idea of, you know, having the 2 tones in there to tie in to the wood furniture that we have, and then also the open shelves that we have. And here comes the union. It is in full force now, full blaze, if you will. But my gosh, Union Jack or not, tape pulling is just, it's where it's at. I love watching this. It's my favorite part. So again, here I am with some great ideas to kind of subvert the Union Jack look, but nothing works. It just, I feel like, made it almost worse. But you know, at least I can say I tried. With the other one, I went a completely different direction and did a design that I haven't really ever done on any piece before, and I thought it was kind of the perfect design for a bench seat like this, just simply because it's so long, and yeah, it just worked out perfectly. The long triangles and everything just went really nicely, and I really like it a lot, and wish I definitely had done something similar, if not the same. But, you know, my boyfriend and I are very eclectic, and so we kind of like mismatching things. So I thought that having two different stools would be kind of cool. And who knows, maybe the Union Jack will grow on me, but probably not. I'll probably be sanding it down and redoing some other design. But yeah. Anyways. While I was staining this guy, I was looking at the bare legs of the other one, and I kind of liked the idea of having one stained and one bare. And so I ended up leaving the legs on the other one unstained and just sanding off all these little bits of the stain that I got onto the legs. And I did this with a credit card and a piece of sandpaper, or sorry, not a credit card, my gosh, a gift card that I had used. And yeah, just went ahead and sanded off all of that stuff. You want to use a gift card when you're hand sanding, specifically because, you know, when you're sanding with your hand, it gets very, very tiring and can hurt your hand a lot, especially your little fingertip bees. So this will help protect them, and it gets in those little grooves a lot easier. For my top coat, I'm going in with a Wipe Bond polyurethane top coat, and this guy is pretty easy to put on. You just pour it on the piece directly or put it onto a cloth, microfiber, whatever you have, and just wipe it around. And I'm putting it on not only the seat part but also on the legs, as you can see here, making sure that every part of the piece is going to be nice and sealed and protected from water damage, moisture. You know, in Georgia it gets pretty humid, so it'll protect against that, keep the wood from expanding, and, you know, just protect it from everyday things that furniture goes through. But yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. I'm going to show you guys the finished product in just a minute here, but I hope that you guys like and subscribe and do all those things so that we can stay a happy flippin' family, and I hope to see you in the next episode next week. In the meantime, stay flippin', guys.